Hello and welcome to the Futurist Letters show. My name is Cairo Smith. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Futurist Letters, the journal. I'm also the host of the Futurist Letters show, which comes out weekly on Monday mornings Pacific time for your enjoyment. We are here on futuristletters.com with video and audio. We are on YouTube with video and audio, and if you prefer to just listen, we are also on Spotify. You can add us to Apple Podcasts or whatever other podcast platform you use. Following our interviews, we also do a little after show where myself and my co-host talk about how it went, talk about where we screwed up, any additional thoughts that may have crept into our minds over the course of the interview, and share a little extra about what's going on with the journal. So if you enjoy the show, please consider becoming a paying subscriber for just a few bucks a month. You can get access to all the behind the scenes from the journal articles, the essays and short stories, and you can also get those after show episodes. Also, if you would like to sponsor the show, this is the part where your sponsor message will go. So if you go to futuristletters.com and click on the advertising link, you will see there are two options. You can buy 1 month at a time, and you can advertise in the journal and or the show itself. So please do that. If you have anything to promote, it gets to 20, 30,000 people or more. The ads stay up in perpetuity, and it will help us keep the journal running. So with all that said, today I am here with my co-host, the incomparable Nathan Eidingen. Hey, Nathan.
Shalom.
Shalom, indeed. And we have for you today the very first writer who has appeared in print in Futurist Letters and is now also a guest on the show. So that is a double threat if I have ever seen one. Please welcome the one and only Lillian Wang Selonick, the founder and editor-in-chief of the LRB, that is the Lillian Review of Books, and we are very happy to have her. Lillian, welcome to the show, and for those who don't know, please tell us a little about yourself, what you do, what you're interested in, and how you got here.
Thanks, Cairo. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks for having me on, for the warm welcome. So as Cairo mentioned, I publish the Lillian Review of Books on Substack. I guess that is my most public-facing role. The LRB, or the LilRB as it's sometimes called, mostly takes an interest in classic literature, and by classic I mean everything from literally classical Greek literature to what's, I guess, broadly considered the classics of the Western canon, with a special interest in Jewish American literature and also in science fiction, especially but not exclusively new wave science fiction. I guess my sort of, until recently, my other public-facing role, I worked at the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences as an assistant managing editor, where I managed a team that handled the peer review process for the flagship journal of the National Academy of Sciences. And my professional career has been in scholarly publishing, science publishing and peer review, science ethics, publishing ethics, things like that. But I late last year I quit that job and have been on sort of a sabbatical, working on a novel and focusing on the LRB.
Very cool. Can you, one thing I remember reading is that you got a classics BA, right, when you went to uni?
Yes. Yes, I majored in classical studies at the University of Chicago. That was it was sort of a long journey. I didn't end up declaring the classics major until I think it was like spring of my junior year. So I thought I dabbled in many other fields. I really enjoyed physics. I really liked math. But I got sort of just far enough in those to realize that uh, liking something is not the same thing as being talented in those fields,
Mhm.
and that I actually had both fondness for and at least some natural ability in uh, reading Greek literature. So
It
that's
was
why
just Greek or you did Latin as well?
I did take 1/4 of Latin.
Okay.
Um, but so my focus was on ancient Greek. I did not take Latin in high school. I think most people who, or many people
Hmm.
who study classics, take Latin in high school. I didn't have that background, and
Yeah, I took Latin in high school. I don't remember almost anything, so you're probably still ahead of me.
I did 6 years of Latin, and that was also at an Irish high school where it was really, really severe. So I do remember it, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how. But it was very formative for me as a reader and a writer. Like I feel like that's actually where I really learned how to appreciate poetry and evaluate it. That was how I learned grammar, basically
yeah,
everything. Yeah,
yeah, no, totally. I don't think I really knew. I didn't understand English grammar until I took ancient Greek.
yeah.
Um, However they taught it to me, in school just wasn't rigorous. So yeah, I do. I am jealous of the people who did take Latin because I had the opportunity to take Latin in high school, but my dad, who had been forced to take it, um, when he was in high school, told me like, it's useless. Don't do it.
Uh-huh.
And I listened to him. I shouldn't have
Hmm.
listened to him.
What did he
Millennia
do
of Roman
instead?
oppression, he was trying to break the yoke. And yeah. Uh-huh.
Do
This
you
is
know any?
interesting. So you said that you didn't actually declare until your junior year. Were you just undeclared, kind of making your way through, or did you have a different major?
Yeah, I was did not have a declared major.
Interesting.
Yeah, the University of Chicago has like basically the first 2 years you don't have to declare a major. You don't have to take any
Mm,
specialized classes. It's like the core curriculum, the Common Core,
a classical education.
or yeah. I think it used to be much more rigorous. I think it was like 3 solid years. Back in the like um, in the 20s and stuff. They were when they were like really into the great books stuff.
Yeah.
You like didn't have a major until like your senior year basically, but um, over the years that has been sort of degraded. um, I actually one of the reasons why it took me so long to declare a major was because I actually transferred out of UChicago for a semester and to go to St. John's College, in Annapolis, which is it's like a small, very small, great books college. Um, and because yeah, I felt like the uh, just intro humanities curriculum at UChicago wasn't being taken seriously enough.
By
Um,
the students or the professors or both?
um, Kind of both, mostly by the students because I had
Mm.
I mean they were definitely pawning off these like intro level courses on like graduate students, which is not always a bad thing. Like I had a really good graduate instructor for my intro humanities class, who gave like a lot of great feedback. I feel like I really learned how to write essays from him. Um, but there is still something, I feel like it sends a message when you're like, uh, here, just, let this grad student teach you and like we'll save the professors for, the fancy stuff.
For the upper division. Yeah. So
Yeah.
And
you
so,
transferred for a year to seek more of this sort of rigorous or at least passionate like humanities literary environment. And then you went back.
Yeah, actually, I just went for one semester and then I went back because
Oh, I see.
yeah, it was I was very indecisive youth.
Yeah,
But
you became a
after
DJ, right?
a DJ, yeah, I was a radio DJ. Um,
In
How
college?
did that happen?
yeah. Yeah, actually, I joined the radio station my first quarter at U Chicago. I think I was so as a teen, I was like desperate for belonging, but I also didn't want to seem like I was trying too hard. So I sought out like, the coolest community
Mm.
on campus, which was like all these, hipster radio DJs who acted like they didn't care about anything. Uh, and yeah, it ended up being, I mean, definitely like my longest running uh, group involvement. It's a
Would you say you're kind of a rolling stone? It seems like you bounce between things a lot.
I don't know. I think it's just like being, young, being
Yeah.
19.
When
Um,
do you feel
I
like you
think
stopped being young?
um well, that's a great question. I have a whole essay about this.
I know it
Really,
came out recently.
yeah, I stopped being young on oh, I'm not going to give the date because that's PII, but in July of this year, so just last month, I stopped being young. Um,
And now you're normal
and
age.
became normal. Yeah, I think really, I turned 32 years old, and that is the threshold. You're no longer young. You're just normal. It's an unremarkable age for almost anything to happen.
Do you
We
feel
ran
like
an
it was a
essay about this by a woman, and I do wonder if this holds some particular anxiety for women. Although, of course, men are almost more likely to have the midlife crisis. So maybe it happens for both, just at different ages. But we ran an essay by Marin English where she was like, when you're young and you do something artistic, there's a certain built-in notability to it just by virtue of your youth, and then sort of as you get older, you face this. You're not like a precocious prodigy doing art. You're just a person making art. Have you felt like this as you've gotten older? It's changed the way you approach your work, or like how you expect your work to be treated, or has it been pretty consistent for you?
No, I think it's definitely changed. I received some like I was I don't know, a gifted youth, I guess. I was a smart kid. I got a lot of praise for
Sure. And now look at all of us.
right. Um, and and specifically for being a creative kid, I got a lot of, positive feedback for that. I actually the medal here um was I won three medals that I received on the stage at Carnegie Hall when I was 16, um, from
wow.
the Scholastic Young Artists and Writers Awards. Um, and that's it's this like long running. Do you guys know it?
I can't say that I'm
No,
familiar,
not
unfortunately.
really. I mean, I know Carnegie Hall, obviously.
Mhm. It's this like national uh, writing award for high school kids, and like Truman Capote won it when he was in high school, and I think Sylvia Plath did, and like Andy Warhol. Um,
All three of those won this
it
high school award.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it's not like I wasn't like the
And
only
Lillian
person to
Selonick won it.
I
So
yeah,
that's like
but
four
okay,
names
to be
right
clear,
there.
it's like dozens of kids win it every year.
Okay.
Um, but they have like a big ceremony in New York. Um, and so and like you submit basically like your like English teacher submit something for you, basically. Um, so I got like a silver medal for poetry, a gold medal for short fiction, and then this and like an American Voices medal for short fiction. Um, and I got this, so it was when I was 16, but it was for stuff that I wrote when I was 14. Um, and uh, I basically, after winning this award, like I didn't write anything for like 4 years because I was like frozen in place where I was like, okay, well, I
Whoa.
did something good
Like a sophomore
once.
album, how do I follow up? How do I follow up with this thing that won this big award? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'm also convinced that it's like winning this award got me into college because I was on the wait list at the University of Chicago um, when I won the award, and then I told them about it, and then I got in. I was like kind of a fuck up in high school, so I my grades weren't very good. Um, so
What were
like
you like in high school? Like apart from like in terms like separately from your grades?
um yeah, I was very angsty. I was younger than everyone in my grade because I had skipped a grade in middle school. Um, so I was a year younger than everyone in my grade. Um, I I don't know. I was like a big druggie. Um, I that was like my whole personality was like drugs and like
And
literature.
winning the highest high school honors in the country for fiction. That's a great combo.
I
Actually,
Yeah.
mean
that's very cool.
that's probably what drove you. That's what gave you the
I see why you joined the radio station coming off that. It's like, how do you stay that cool? Yeah.
It was yeah. Well, I it was not cool. Like kids don't do drugs. It's not
Sorry,
cool.
not cool.
but
Um,
Excuse me.
but but
No, don't do
um,
drugs, kids. In fact, don't
yeah.
listen to the show either, kids. No children should be listening to this show. Go
That's
touch
true. It's
grass.
really not
No,
suitable for children.
no.
Um, but yeah, I guess I always like really enjoyed playing against type, and so and I think that continues today to some extent. Where I really enjoyed like having this like secret life in high school where I was like, oh, you know, you wouldn't expect this like quiet Asian girl to also be like, doing mad drugs.
Sure.
Um,
Do you feel like
and
you're so what does it mean for you now to play against type? Like as one's type changes? How do you play against type today?
as a normal aged Jewish
As a
Asian man.
normal aged, normally successful Asian girl.
yeah, I guess it's harder because like nothing is really that surprising at my normal age, where it's like I don't know. I guess I like live a very normie life now. Like I don't do any drugs. I don't like really, go to shows anymore. I live in the suburbs. Uh, you know,
Yes,
I'm a
but
homeowner.
there's like a distinction. Like those things are all cool, you know. Those are just becoming an adult, you know. Where I think you enter normiedom is like when you're still reading Harry Potter when you're 30, or like when,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean I
you're
don't think normies are like publishing like literary criticism for fun.
yeah.
I don't think that's
Like
like a normie behavior.
I don't think
Oh,
normies
you're saying
know
I'm not
who
a normie?
yeah, I don't think normies know who Mishima is, for example. Like
Okay, well, I have not read any Mishima just on like general principle because,
on
I'm
general
Korean.
because
Homophobia?
yeah.
Was he is he gay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a gay
You're off the
Oh,
hook
I
with
just
yeah.
that one. That was the
I
best
just know he's
possible
like
answer you could have given.
he's like a Japanese fascist.
And he's gay.
And
Many,
Many there's
many
many
such
such cases.
cases.
Yeah,
yeah, as a Korean, I don't feel like
That's completely fair.
yeah,
So
that's
I
very
want to
fair.
talk about your Koreanness and your Jewishness and your Korean Jewishness in general. You've talked a little bit about our, the
But
idea. Well, we've talked about
you're
the
also
Hapa
Chinese, right?
future. What's that, Nathan?
You're also Chinese too, right?
Are you Chinese?
yes, little bit, little bit.
Oh, a little bit.
Is
Okay.
this is this where the Wang comes from?
Yes. Yeah.
I
No,
see.
I'm always having to explain. It's like when people ask me, like, well, the rude question is, "What are you?" Which I used to get a lot. I think people have
Yeah,
been sort of,
trained
educated to
out
the
of
point
that.
where they don't.
It's mostly
Yeah.
like boomers that still, I think, for me, nothing against boomers that still ask that, but yeah,
Yeah. Or if you just like, I don't know, go to like a normie bar where they haven't, gotten the message, then you might
yeah,
get that question. But yeah, so I mean, I have a few different answers to that question, which is like one is just like, oh, I'm half Asian, and half white. And then if it's like, I am feeling like sharing a little more, I'm like, oh, I'm half Korean and half Jewish. Uh, and then if I want to get like real deep with it, then I'll say I'm 3/8 Korean, 1/8 Chinese, and half French, German, Jewish,
The mass,
American.
the
yeah.
coming, the coming
You know
race.
that they really like you if they're willing to put up with you when you get into the eighths and sixteenths. I speak from experience, because otherwise they're just like, man, come on. Uh-huh. I feel bad for my future kids because they're gonna be like getting into 30 seconds and stuff. Um,
Yeah, that's tough. Actually, I did have a so I my whole life I've been like, okay, I'm 1/8 Chinese, which is like from my great grandfather was supposedly like the second son of the tutor to the last emperor of China.
Puyi.
I
Um,
Wow.
fully thought you were gonna say that you were like a Qing descendant and you had like a claim to the throne. Like that would be very cool. Okay, the tutor. All right.
yeah. So, which is a little less glamorous, but
Uh-huh.
if you've seen the movie The Last Emperor of China,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The tutor
yeah.
was, I think, like a Scottish guy in that, right? Was that so? This
Yes,
was another
yes.
tutor.
This is so they brought the Scottish guy in after the Chinese ones couldn't, keep up with the kid or whatever, couldn't like,
Yeah.
exert influence on them. So in that movie, he the like child emperor makes his Chinese tutors drink ink. Do you remember that scene?
Yes, I do. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's your great grandpa?
Oh
that
wow,
was my great great grandpa.
that's cool.
Wow.
um
Yeah.
That's a good movie. If you're listening and you haven't seen The Last Emperor, by the way, I was just having this conversation with my other half. She was saying that biopics are like inherently a bad genre. And so I went to like her
mm,
list of ratings to see like what her highest rated biopic was, and it was The Last Emperor. So I brought that up. She went, "Oh yeah, that was good. That was good." So there's always exceptions. But wow, okay.
yes, it's
And
a
then
great movie.
Korean, and
Yeah.
then America happens, I assume.
Yeah, yeah. So the son of the tutor to the last emperor of China moves from China to, so he's second son, so he's not getting anything. So he moves to Korea to make his fortune
That
selling
primogeniture is
Chinese
brutal.
silk. Yeah, and then marries a beautiful Korean woman and all that. But yeah, so my grandmother then comes with as a, my mother as a child to the States, lands in LA. So my mom grew up in LA. Uh, and yeah, I don't know. The rest is history.
Well, at a certain point, your father enters the picture, I assume.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so on my dad's side, Jewish side, uh, we trace our lineage back to Alsace. So
Uh huh.
there's like disputed region between France and Germany that was kind of the like center of
I think it's pretty
Western
unambiguous
European
that it
Jewish life.
rightfully belongs to fill in the blank. Go on.
I think there was some discussion of like putting the Jewish homeland there, um,
I mean, they
after
wanted
World
to
War
put it in
II.
like Madagascar at one point. They had all kinds of dumb ideas.
Well, that was the
Yeah.
Nazis who wanted to
That
put
was
it in
so. Wait, so
Chromatica.
Jews were talking about putting it in Alsace?
No, like if it's actually interesting if you go to the Tel Aviv Museum of Art, they have like cutouts of like every single proposed place for like a Jewish homeland, and most of them, I think half of them weren't even by like Jews who like proposed them, but in Zionist history, like there was never really any serious opposition to the Levant, really, like
Uh huh.
um, like even in the first Congress, the big thing is that even before Zionism existed, there had already been like a fairly decently sized population in the Levant, and there were people migrating there anyway. Like the town that I live in near Haifa is like one of the oldest of these settlements of the old Yishuv. So
Yeah.
yeah, like there was never any sort of real. What there was though is like the Soviets. They have like the Jewish Autonomous Oblast in like Siberia, where they
Right.
were like, oh yeah, they were like the Jews could have their own little oblast that's like really small, and I think there's not even Jews that live there, but it's still called that to this day.
Really? They just all
Yeah,
left? They didn't want to be there?
no, of course they didn't want to be there. It's like out like near. It's on the
I mean, I
border with
wouldn't
like
want to live in
Manchuria.
Siberia,
It's on the
honestly.
border with Manchuria, and
I
like I
prefer
think
like
now
Southern
there's
California by far. Uh,
yeah, and but yeah, so like there was a lot of. I mean, Alaska. We were talking before the podcast started a little bit about the Yiddish Policemen's Union. So Alaska was proposed by like one American senator. Like there were a bunch of proposals, but like none of them were really like super serious, basically.
right. Well, I think this could be its own whole episode, but I do want to hear about how your dad's side ended up running into your mom's side, as it were.
Yeah. So uh, I forget how many generations back, but in the late 19th century, um, uh, one of my ancestors immigrated from Alsace to initially New York, but then pretty quickly, I think, moved on to Cincinnati, Ohio, which is uh, the sort of like birthplace of American Reform Judaism, and it's
Yeah,
a center of Jewish American life that I don't know. I think that surprises a lot of people. Like, just Cincinnati seems kind of like a random,
Yeah,
second
well,
tier
I think
city.
especially
But
coastal people sort of they just see any city that is farther from the coast than them as a bit of a punchline. I
I think
experienced
that's
that a
where
lot in
yeah,
the
LA.
I think that's where
Yeah.
the Trafe banquet was actually. Was in Cincinnati. I don't know if you know that story, Lillian.
What was that?
no,
So, like the Reformniks were always considered like separate because like they were just abolishing the religion in many ways. Like they switched everything to English. Like they were back then they were doing everything on Sunday too. They wanted to move like the day of worship to Sunday. And there was like one meeting that I think was like one of the inaugural meetings of like the new students like having graduated or something like this, and they had what was called the Trafe banquet. Trafe meaning non-kosher, because at this banquet they like served apocryphally they served like shellfish, like lobster there, and like there was a huge walkout of like the more traditional people who were visiting and attending, and that like solidified the
Depending on the
reform
source, that
identity.
might just be propaganda, though, don't you think?
No, no,
I
no,
don't know.
no. This story happened. Like I've heard a reform rabbi also say this story too. Like you can Google it. Like it did happen. It's just the question of like, was it just non-kosher beef that was served? Was it meat
Or
and
was it
dairy? Like,
shellfish? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
or was it shellfish? Like we don't know the specifics, but
wait. So
this is a
what like
real event.
decade was this?
This was in like the late 1800s, if I remember correctly, or like early 1900s. Like this was I I've read and I've heard that this is like the event that caused Reform Judaism to like solidify as like a movement and like separate.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah, I
before
hadn't
this
heard
it
of
was
this.
it was more gray, like, they weren't like doing full on like excommunications at this point, right? Like there is today.
I don't know. This is a bit esoteric for me.
I guess it doesn't surprise me because if that were true, I mean, it does sound a little bit like, slander, but uh,
Yeah.
my
People
my
slandering
dad
Jews,
grew up
really?
Jews slandering Jews.
Wow.
What does the world come to? But yeah, my dad's generation in Cincinnati of like these German Jews in Cincinnati who were, somewhat prosperous and assimilated. Um,
Many such cases.
yeah, for example, Manischewitz was founded in Cincinnati and
Yeah, that's true.
had its like first factory there. Um, but yeah, he and like his cousins and everyone they grew up with like Christmas trees. Um, and it wasn't until I think my uncle as a teenager like got into some fight with my grandfather about like how they shouldn't have Christmas trees in the house because they're Jews. But it was just something that
So
wasn't.
who was pro and who was against in that fight?
So my grandparents just put up Christmas trees as like
Oh, I see.
part of family custom, and then um, it was my uncle who was arguing against that.
Pushing against this. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's been a running trend of everything getting like way more traditional, even within reform. Like I said, like, they used to do things on Sunday. They stopped calling them rabbis, actually. They called them like, I think they actually called them reverends. I've heard this from like people who like
Wow.
were like OG reform. Yeah, like they really
Mm.
wanted like full assimilation. Like now today, like you go into any reform shul in America and like they will have at least some Hebrew. People wear like I've also heard stories too of like wearing like a talit was like considered like weird because it was too religious, and now that's like pretty normal for American reform. Like everything, I think, has moved a
Mm.
lot more traditional than like 100 years ago for that community.
I wonder how much that's about access to information, how much that's about
It's because of
the
Israel.
external pressures changing. I mean, it's
No,
it's interesting
it's because of Israel. That's the reason. Like because
because of
everything
Israel.
here, like yeah, because like there is no like reform here. It's just like Orthodox, and so like if you're a secular Jew, like you're still Orthodox, is the way it works. Like it's like I don't go to synagogue, but the synagogue that I don't go to is Orthodox. And like the Reform rabbis, when they're trained, they still have to spend a year in Israel in Jerusalem, and it's just the center of life now. Like
Sure.
this is the center of learning and everything in the community, and so like the Americans have just been taking on more of the even in the more liberal quarters.
Did you do birthright, Lillian?
I
You did
did.
tag. How is your taglit?
Um, it was fun. It was a
What
little
type
Was
of
weird.
this in
So
program?
the midst of the rebel Lillian era?
so I was 22, 21
Oh,
or
okay.
22.
Okay.
Um, I was definitely still a degenerate at that point. But I went with my sister, um, and who's kind of she's like a normie.
She kept you in
So I
check?
yeah, so I wanted to do. There's like I guess a range of types of
Yeah.
birthright trips that you can go on. Like you could go on like on a really religious one. You could go on one that's more like focused on like the history and archaeology. And I wanted to go on that one. Um, but then there's like the party one. And my
Yeah.
sister wanted to go on that one. So we compromised and went on one that was sort of like, a mix of like the historical and the party atmospheres. Um, so it was fun. I met like a few of like the dumbest Jews I've ever met um, on Birthright, like just
American
totally,
Jews?
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
just
Do
like
they have a
completely
way of making sure
oblivious.
you don't go multiple times? Do they have like a registry? Because it's paid for, right? Like you get a grant or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
I
I mean, you do
I'm
it.
not
I
sure.
don't know. Like, it's all done through the Jewish agency, and like I imagine they know who you are to a certain
Yeah.
extent. But like, I never did it. I live here, so
When
like,
I was when I
I
was a
don't
high
know.
schooler, I briefly like was wondering like how much effort it would take to fake being Jewish to go on it, but I
There are
decided it would be too much.
there are people who are able to fake it. Like that does happen, but also they do give birthright trips to people who aren't Jewish, like at all. Uh, Out
You're
of
telling me I
like
could have
I
gotten a free trip and I just
yeah
fumbled it?
they they do it especially to college students because like they want to like do like it's like a PR thing.
I was a
Like
college
if
student.
especially yeah, like if you were like, hey, like like I'm involved with like such and such groups, like I love Israel, like I want to
Damn.
visit, like yeah, I know some people who've done that.
Interesting.
I
Interesting. I could have
that's
gone seen the parking lot where my grandma grew up. Sorry.
they
Is it actually a parking lot
It's
now?
actually a grocery store parking lot now. Yeah, I found it on Google Maps, which is fine. You know, grocery stores need parking lots. It's practical.
they
Yeah,
actually
anyway,
okay,
okay.
they grilled me like at
They
the I think
did.
it was at the airport. Yeah,
Was this
because
Yeah, that
anti-Asian
okay,
discrimination?
yes it was.
yeah, they do
Um
that. Yeah.
I think it was before we got on the plane. There was like I don't know, some IDF guy like at like Newark airport. I don't know how they arranged this, but um
I
before we
don't
got
know
on the
how they
plane
arranged this.
they like pulled me and my sister
Yeah.
aside and were like, "Are you sure you're Jewish?" And they made us
What are they
they made
expecting me to
us
say?
sing
No. Like what?
they like made us go through our entire genealogy and then asked us to sing Passover songs
Yeah,
like to
like
prove that we were
In
raised
New
Jewish.
York airport?
yeah,
Yeah.
like no, they do that. It's for the El Al. It's not like it's for El Al, right? It's for the airline. You have to go through their like special security, and then
The
they give you
airline
like
makes you sing Passover songs to get on the
yeah.
J-
plane?
No, no, no,
just
no,
if you
Cairo.
look just if you
The
don't look like a Jew.
the best part though is like they write like a number on your passport that they like stick to it, and it's like how likely they think you're a terrorist. Okay, and like so I remember one time I was flying from New York to Ben Gurion,
Like out of
and
10? Like what is the scale?
it's out of 100, and so like and so like I went up to like the first security guard, like it was a woman. I spoke to her for like a minute, and like it
Uh-huh.
was fine. She wrote like a 10 on my thing, and
A
then
10.
I just yeah, and then I went through, and then I was like, oh fuck, I forgot to check my bag or something. I honestly don't remember, but anyway, I had to leave the gate. Oh no, it was like too early for me to board or something, so I left the gate, and I had to go back through security. And he's like, "Why the fuck are you going back through security?" And I explained the whole thing to him, and he's like, "Whatever." And then he was like, what is the parsha? Like, what is the portion of the Bible this week? Like he's like quizzing me. But then like when I went to Turkey earlier this year, like I feel like if you're here, it's easier just because you're here. So like when I went through airport security, like you just speak Hebrew, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going with my dad to Turkey, and she's like, okay, have fun, and then like that's it.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
That's funny. It's got to be strange, especially well because
Oh,
your
but the
dad was
guy,
reform, right, Lillian? Your
the
dad was
the guy
raised
wrote a
reform.
but the guy wrote
Yeah.
a 60 for when I was coming back the second time.
Really 60% chance.
I don't think
Okay,
it's a
well,
chance thing. I think but the thing is like when I landed, like I'm a citizen, so I just like, like it's not like it
yeah.
does anything, like
So this, yeah, and I don't. This is going to be a whole entity episode if I'm not careful. I have so many questions, but I want to keep it about Lillian because we only have Lillian for this episode. So Lillian, we must use Lillian. You are a writer. You write science fiction. Why? What does it mean to be Lillian, and why do you write science fiction?
Um
You can just answer the second one.
okay. Um I write science fiction because I love science fiction and I think I got tired of pretending like I I don't. I
That's so
wrote I
cool.
mean I have So I mentioned earlier that like I was traumatized by my, early success as a writer
Yeah,
of
my
fiction.
condolences.
Yeah, and so when I did start writing again, uh, well, I sort of I wrote some fiction throughout college, but not like in any sort of serious or studied way. But it was around maybe 2019, 2020, I started writing again. Um, this was like the height of like woke identitarian, like, you know, hashtag own voices sort of movement.
Episodes without
And
mentioning woke in literature. Back to zero on the counter.
Zero.
Yeah, please go
I,
ahead.
I think it already
sorry.
what I think it's
Um,
always been zero. Like,
No, no, no.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had this sense that like I just read Pachinko had just been published, and it was like, wow, so many people are interested in hearing about like the stories of Korean families. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, if I want to be a writer, which I have always wanted to be a writer, um, like the path to success is through mining these family stories, which there are many. Um, I feel like
Mining being
every
perhaps the most polite word we can use. Yes.
and so I wrote a handful of stories that were sort of, you know, Korean American immigrant trauma stories. And um, I had a few of them published in like small literary magazines. Um, a couple of them I submitted to like contests, and they, like one won the variant literature fiction contest, and then one story got second place. I think it was second place in the Joyland fiction contest. Um, so I was feeling like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like this is the way, this is the path. And then at some point, I don't know, I just I started reading more Asian American fiction that was being published, and
Mm-hmm.
um, some of it is good, but a lot of it just feels like it's pandering
Yeah, I
to
mean, you're getting at specifically pandering to like white liberals, right? Like you're almost getting asked to
yeah,
do this like minstrel show of like immigrant poverty and grief. That's how I feel anyway
yeah,
when
yeah,
like there will be a time that I truck out these ancestral stories, but it's not going to be in a way that appeals to these like extremely sort of like simplifying sensibilities. Yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
yeah. I was gonna say that's what I was gonna ask you about. Like, I think on the last episode that we had put out at this time, Cairo put it as like the crying at H Mart stories, like these very like exploitative, and like for sure, like there's the whole
Yeah.
trauma of like a lot of like children of immigrants in America, like they don't even know what they've lost, like they don't, like there's that
Yeah.
loss of not even knowing. And
And
like
you know what I want to say really quick here? I want to throw in that there are obviously people, second gen, third gen immigrants. Although I honestly think on a separate note, it's absurd to call someone who's third generation or even second generation immigrant. Like definitionally, they're not. But like there are people who genuinely want to write the crying in H Mart esque fiction, right? Like that is what truly comes from their heart. The issue is that there is so much insincere demand for these stories in excess of supply that like it gets swarmed with like narcissists and strivers and sociopaths who are assuming this affect, right? Because they see it as a path to success, right? Which ironically, like, actually really pollutes that space for people for whom that is what they would naturally want to talk about, right? But I mean, it sounds
yeah,
like for
what
you, Lillian, it was like the opposite. You wrote those for a time, and then you decided you wanted to write the other things. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the problem is like all of the stories are like they're probably true. All the
Yeah.
stinky lunchbox like I have a stinky lunchbox story. Um but
I love how
like
ubiquitous this is. That like we
I mean,
know what it means just from that.
I had it.
Yeah.
I had it too. Yeah, like it is real. Like it did happen. Like
I also think we give those incidents more power when we fetishize them in our art, though. Like I had a guy like, I've had people yell at me on the street for like random stuff because they're just like schizo jerks. Like I'm not gonna like shape my artistic career around people that yell at me on the street. I don't know.
yeah. Um yeah. So I'm really torn because I do feel like there should be a space for some of those stories to be told and told well. Um and I do stand by the stories that I wrote then that were more in that vein. And think I don't think I fell into some of the traps that.
no, they're good stories. Like I've read them. Like I
Yeah.
think
Oh, you did?
yeah, of course I did.
Oh.
I think I what I enjoyed about the stories is that I feel like um you talk about these very like small mundane moments that if you're especially if you're like a child in these environments, they really stand out to you, and it feels very genuine, and as well of you don't say it explicitly, but there's that lingering pain of assimilation that I feel like is behind it. If what I'm saying is making sense, reading it.
You know what it is? I just put my finger on it. You guys, do you know about the idea of like I think it's called the principle of embarrassment or something like that, where historians put more weight on historical accounts if they would
Yeah,
not
yeah,
make the vested parties like look good, right? Like because it like why would you write that if it wasn't true, if it doesn't serve your propagandistic purpose? It's like
Mm.
so I consider a writer like Lillian Wang Selonick, right? Like who's writing very much from the heart in everything she does, right? Like if I didn't know Lillian personally, and you're trying to find like the truth, like the real in this person, it's like you sort of it's almost like instead of a rule of embarrassment, it's like a rule of vogue, like of course it's probably all from the heart, but she has less incentive to write something that's less to market, So if like the H Mart story is what's in market, the stinky lunchbox, like sure that's a real reflection of her, right? But like when she's taking the time to write something for which there is no market, it's like of course that's purely a passion project, right? Like it's not to get into a journal. I don't know. Unless it's Futurist Letters.
Yeah, I think Futurist Letters is the market.
Futurist Letters is the market. I don't know why people don't understand this. Futurist Letters is the future. It's in the name. Lowercase future, by the way. We're not those like Marinetti people. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I want to ask you about this too, Lillian. You recently told me in a DM, and I know you said you have too many guys in your DMs, and I want to talk about this too. But you said that you were on a show recently, and they called you like one of the primary contributors to Futurist Letters, which I guess in terms of sheer like publication volume is true because you've had two
not just
pieces.
not just pure publication volume, but also if you look at the statistics, she's actually the person who brings the most people to the journal after us in terms of
After
hits.
us.
Yeah,
So this is
she's
really just
third.
a meeting of the core
This is the
team
Futurist
of Futurist
Letters
Letters.
core. Yeah, this is a
Doesn't work.
team. Yeah.
Okay. You've been like involuntarily inducted into the journal, Lillian. So, I guess it's like the question I want to ask is you're on Substack. Obviously, Substack is connected to Futurist Letters. Obviously, we're active on Notes. There's this sort of community aspect, and it's like Substack is kind of a weird environment. Some people say it's just a replica of the blogosphere. but it doesn't seem like that to me. It seems like something a little different. Like, how do you navigate this space? What draws you to it, and like, how do you decide what to do when you open Substack for the day?
Um, yeah, so I was never in the like OG blogosphere. Um, so I'm not really sure how it compares. I definitely thought about making a blog many times between like, 2005 and, 2023, but never pulled the trigger. I guess I don't know. I started my Substack I think almost 2 years ago. No, I don't know, year and a half ago or something. And for the first 6 months, I didn't really realize that there was this whole like community feature through notes
I think they
and
actually introduced it later than that. So you might have been there from the very beginning of it being launched as a feature. Anyway,
I okay I think I joined it after. I don't know. I
sorry,
discovered
I'm
it at some point
gaslighting you
after
right now.
I
I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Cairo's a
um
male. He's a male manipulator. To be
Yeah,
clear,
I
he doesn't.
actually have matcha right here. That's the jump scare. Uh,
Oh no, red flag.
red flags and the Claro. Okay, go ahead, Lillian. Sorry, I'm
Do
holding
you know what? Do
I'm
you know
holding
flag?
space for women's voices.
Do you know
mm,
flag is also red,
yes,
Cairo?
such an ally.
What's that?
So
Turkey also has a red flag, and
Turkey
Turkey
does
is,
have a red flag. Yeah.
and
This
we
they've
are.
been
This is
throwing
a
this turkey thing
Turkish.
at me. I don't really know. I'm kind of
This is
like
a
you being
Turkish
one
nation.
sixteenth Chinese, Lillian. I'm 1/16 Turkish. So, you know.
okay.
Kind of like the more
Mm,
mixed you are, the more jokes are available for people, I guess. I don't know.
okay.
Go ahead. Sorry, you were trying to
For
say something cogent.
for the record, I'm 1/8 Chinese, and I feel like that'll be important someday. When the Chinese are overlords.
Yeah, if
But
we're
I,
getting like fractional like ubi based on our Chineseness, that's like twice as much Chinese in like social
mhm,
credits. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
there is also to be said, like, um, if Jesus could have a younger brother who is Chinese and Jesus is Jewish, maybe I can be also a even younger brother of
Some have
Jesus.
suggested this. I don't
what?
know. He's talking about the Taiping Rebellion, which we had a completely non existent and not real unaired pilot about that will never see the light of day,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
because
But
like the most deadly war in human history was founded by Heng Shuquan in southern China, who he said that he was Jesus's younger brother and God's Chinese son.
wild.
Oh,
Well, maybe Lillian is God's Chinese daughter. I don't
Daughter.
know.
it's certainly possible.
Clip that. All right. That's going on the highlight reel.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, so I guess Substack, it's kind of a weird collection of people, right? Like you have
Hmm.
like all these sort of like e-girls, you have these like very like manic depressive bloggers, you have all these like people who like are like aging out of being lit bros into just being like lit men. Um like what draws you to this environment? Like what is your take on it?
I don't know. It's a strange thing because so yeah, like I said, I didn't start off on notes right away, and I was just you know putting out my little sci-fi book reviews to an audience of like 40 people that I knew personally um, for the first several months, and then at some point I realized, oh, like there's, I don't know, there's another like tab on the website. Let me see what's going on over there. And it just yeah, it's a very like Twitter-like environment,
Yeah,
and
it's so
I was
funny when I see people on notes say that they're like bragging about not being on Twitter. Like, bro, you're on. This is just like also Twitter. Come on.
yeah, and
It's just
I'm
it's a second derivative of Twitter.
Yeah, it's like Twitter, but like 9 likes is going viral because it's Substack.
Yeah.
yeah, and the thing was like so I've been on Twitter since like 2011, and I think at my peak I had like 550 followers.
Huge.
And I was
That's more
yeah.
than Jesus.
Um, and I would like post links to my published stories there, and like once I had a tweet that went semi-viral, and that was exciting. But in general, it
Wait,
was
what
like,
was the tweet?
oh,
Was it
it was
about
about
an
how
Ethiopian? Was it about Ethiopian waitresses?
No, no, I want to hear the tweet.
it was it was I got a cold email from a literary agent asking if like I had a novel manuscript um on the basis of
What?
like some of my published stories, and I tweeted like, oh my god, I just got an email from a literary agent, is this real? And then that
Ah,
went, I mean, it wasn't like viral. I mean, it had like, I don't know, 2,000 likes or something. It was a
that's
lot
just
for
like
me.
hopium. You're just dispensing this like Eucharist of hopium to the masses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um and yeah, so that was like very exciting and lots of dopamine, but for the most part it was just um I was just like a consumer on Twitter, and I was just scrolling through
sure.
endless memes and whatever. But on Substack, I don't know. I feel like maybe because it is so much smaller, and the little corner of like literary Substack is just more engaged. I feel like um, pretty early on. Well, so okay, so early on notes, I had a sort of cynical strategy where I was like, oh, maybe I can get like more subscribers if I engage with people on here. Um,
Like fight
and
them, or what do you
then
mean by engage?
no, just like comment on their stuff, and then like
Aggressively
they would
to fight them.
no,
No,
like
no,
say
no, no,
nice
no. Go
things.
ahead.
No, no. This is just.
um,
I think this is just something Cairo and I have talked about. Like we do.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
may or may not have a Black Ops section of Futurist letters
And
to be.
there's this like there's the wrestling idea of like kayfabe, like this sort of performative. I see a lot of people going in this direction. Okay, but you wanted to do like kind, constructive, or at least like value neutral replying to people, and then you discovered what? How did your strategy pivot?
yeah, so at first I was like doing a lot of like commenting on someone's notes and being like, oh, I actually, you're talking about this book.
Yeah,
I just published a review of this last week, and like drop the link. And then, people would sometimes engage with that and be like, oh, I like your review. And then sometimes they'd subscribe. But that's also like, I don't know, it's a very like thirsty way to interact
yeah.
on notes. And then so I just started like, I don't know, like shit posting more and treating it more like Twitter. And then I would get engagement, and I don't know, it's my fucking dumb animal brain. It felt good. So I kept doing it.
Just like getting
Um,
Skinner boxed. Yeah. For what it's worth, Lillian, based on the last like 100 words you said, I think we can induct you as like an honorary member of Gen Z, like elder
oh,
Gen Z. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't,
you
yeah,
I
technically
yeah.
don't,
count.
I
can
think
I
Lillian.
reject this honor?
I think Lillian is an honorary Zoomat as
Yeah, an
well.
Oh,
honorary Zumet.
no.
I think so.
Okay, no. I hate, I unfollowed Dan Baltic because of his use of that word. It's so gross to me.
It is gross. Yeah, is that I feel like, your claim to fame, really you have multiple, but your biggest claim to fame with Futurist Letters we have to talk about is your worst boyfriend ever review, which I really delighted in getting to one commission and then two take my hands off uh and sort of let you be out in front on that, so thank you. But I guess it's sort of like I see this from men and women on Substack. because almost like because there are no like parent chaperones, there's this trend toward like lasciviousness among certain people to get clicks, right? That can get like very vulgar. Like, is this something you actively avoid, you know, a la Baltic, or like what is your relationship with this segment of Substack? Like
Um,
the lewd element of people's autofiction.
are you asking me why I am not like,
I think what he's
I don't
asking
know,
is just
posting
like
thirst traps on
No,
Substack
no,
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 or
no,
like,
no.
no, 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 not at
okay.
all. I'm
I
asking
think what
like, do
he
these people bother you? Do you respect what they're doing? Do you wish they would stop? Like, is this the future of literature? Like, what do you think when you see people like posting this stuff?
Oh, I don't know. Well, so Dan Baltic, I don't know him. I know that you, Cairo, are like
Yeah, you
affiliated
can
with him
shit
in
talk
some
Dan. I
way.
don't care. That's fine. He can
Um,
take it.
like I understand that he's like doing a bit, um, but then I don't know. There's like enough weird, genuine, like conservative, like I don't know. The vibe was like the vibe was not good.
Do you think there's
Um,
a what do you think's the difference though between like these autofiction writers on Substack and like Bukowski?
I honestly I think like the main difference is that I read Bukowski when I was 14 and I thought it was great.
I really hope
And
nobody's reading Dan at 14. Like, all respect to Dan. Or Worst Boyfriend at 14. They don't need that.
I mean I don't
yeah,
Unless
think
it's a
people
cautionary
should
example.
I don't think people should be reading Worst Boyfriend at a basic level. But continue, Lillian. Like you read Bukowski when you were 14.
yeah, and I have not gone back and like, you know, checked to see if it's still good. Um I think I don't know, there's I don't know. I think the difference might be that at least in my memory, Bukowski was at least like reaching towards some like level of literary achievement that I don't see in Worst Boyfriend Ever. Like it's just um lewdness for and
Lewdness'
outrage
sake.
for
Yeah.
its own sake. It's
Yeah.
not artful. Um
There's a good essay about this by Lillian Selonick. It's on Futurist Letters. You can go read it. So, listener,
Boring,
please.
boring narcissist diaries. Yeah.
I'm actually I'm curious. I have a question for you, Cairo. Why did you ask me to review Worst Boyfriend Ever?
Well, that's a great question. I think I saw you shading him on a note. I'm pretty sure. Or at the very least, somehow I got some sense that you had some umbrage with his writing. And I had read some of his stuff and I thought, you know, this is interesting, but also sort of repulsive. And I couldn't really articulate why. Like, aside from the obvious, like, moral failings of the character, which you sort of, like, sickly assume also apply to the author.
I
Um,
don't I think that's just him. I don't think he's like really exaggerating, unfortunately.
what's that?
I think that's just him. I don't think he's
Yeah, I
exaggerating,
do think it's him.
unfortunately.
And, like, you sort of. So I guess to answer your question, I was like, I think there's something deeply wrong with this, and I think it's almost like a, you know, like a cognito risk to read it, but I don't understand why. And Lillian seems like she's smart and she has opinions, and maybe like by commissioning Lillian to explain this, I can help understand what's going on inside me. And also, it would
Mm.
probably get some clicks. That was the
um,
full extent of my thought process.
okay, what was it like? I want an Asian woman to review this.
Um, well, I guess to answer that, I would have to imagine the counterfactual. Like, if you were the exact same person, but a white woman, or if you were the exact same person, but a man, and obviously that's not possible because your identity affects who you are. But, like, if I had seen you online as one of those, would I have still asked you to do this? Honestly, I do think the answer is yes. Like,
Mm.
I do think having seen you being the person you are, talking about worst boyfriend, even if you were a man or not Asian, I would have asked you to do it. But of course, I can never know, right? I can only
Yeah.
speculate.
Okay.
Do you think
Um,
that being an Asian woman, well, I guess of course it does, right? Of course it affects your ability to respond to work that is so aggressively fetishizing Asian women, right?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I have like a visceral reaction to it that I think women of other races, or well, I don't know. I think I think probably people of other races do not would not have.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. It's strange. I think
I do think sometimes white women have a visceral reaction to Asian fetishism that's like rooted in like fear of their own positioning as like objects of sexual desire, but that's maybe a different thing.
like a jealousy in the denotative sense of a fear of your position being replaced or taken away.
Yeah. Yeah, like the whole, Tina Fey thing. You know how like Tina Fey is like obsessed with Asian women?
No, tell us
No,
about this. I
I
don't know
don't
this.
know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know that I'm like came prepared to discuss this, but just in like everything that so in like Mean Girls and like 30 Rock, there's a number of instances of depictions of Asian girls and women that are like
Whoa.
extremely racist and negative and like over sexualizing them and there's this whole on the Asian side of the internet there's or like the Asian feminist side of the internet, Tina Fey is like a well-known villain.
What
um
is the Asian feminist side of the internet? Where does this take place?
I don't know, it's just it's
Twitter
it's
or
whatever
various
algorithm
places?
follows me around. Yeah, I don't know,
It's
Instagram,
amazing how
Twitter.
these algorithms have us dialed in. It is. Yeah. Um so yeah, what the funny thing is like I saw Mean Girls years ago. I don't remember anything about Asian women, but that's obviously because I'm not one. And so I'm not watching it with that lens, right? Like that's not what sticks for me. And similarly, there are things that are personal to my life, disability things or whatever, that I pull out of movies that I'm sure go over other people's heads. Okay, so Tina Fey, what you
There
asked me
so
these
me
questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, in Mean Girls, there are these like two Vietnamese girls who are in the high school, and they're like both having an affair with like the gym teacher, and then
Yeah.
they have like this cat fight over the gym teacher, and they're also like named something super offensive, like I forget what it is, but it's basically like, you know, fuck me or like
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's just kind
And
of
I guess if you
nasty.
look at it, it's like, oh, like Asian women are gonna like destabilize the gender relations by like stealing our men or whatever. I mean, what is that what it is or what is it?
Yeah, yeah, no, I think it is there is this sort of like unwritten hierarchy of femininity, and Asian women are seen as being, like more. feminine and submissive,
Yeah.
and therefore more, appealing to a certain kind of, white man.
Do you
Um,
ever, this is a strange question. Do you ever forget that you're Asian?
um, I don't, I don't think so. I guess I don't know what that would
I guess I just,
mean.
I don't know, thinking about America, thinking about this sort of like civic body that we try to participate in. You and I have talked a little about this on like Discord. It's like for me there are almost moments where I sort of go through life thinking, well, I'm just the same as anybody else. Like I'm almost like either deracinated or like again through like disability or whatever. Like it's just like I'm not aware of like my otherness in that way. And then like there are other times where like the otherness like very like aggressively comes back and you're like, "Oh, this is part of how I'm perceived and I'm never going to be able to get away from it."
Hmm.
I guess that's kind of what I meant.
I guess, I mean, I think the way that I'm received is different than like non-mixed race Asians are received, and so I don't always like, I don't know. So you remember in like 2021 when like hashtag Stop Asian Hate was
Yeah,
like a big thing, and there were lots of very high profile random attacks of Asian
people getting
people.
pushed and in front of trains.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah. And I, to some extent, I like, I felt anxiety about that because it's like, oh, this is happening to people in my community, people who look like, you know, parts of my family. But
Yeah.
I generally, like, I didn't feel that for myself so much because I think, I mean, it really, I don't know. I think I don't always like, people don't assume that I'm Asian if I'm just out in the world. Um,
How do you know that?
well, because a lot of people try to talk to me in Spanish. Um,
Yeah, I see
so
that.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, I'm often assumed to be like Latina. Um, so I don't, yeah, I guess I don't feel like, oh, I have like an Asian target on my back.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that there's like a general, I don't know, otherness that sort of like just, surrounds me, but not but because, yeah, I don't know, I just feel like there's a general, um I feel like it's not, I'm not, my appearance is not often met with like hostility. It's more often like confusion or interest. um
I understand that.
Lots of,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, lots of people like on the street being like, oh, what are you? Or
Yeah.
um
The and you said the what are you is ignorant. It is ignorant. That one doesn't really bother me. The one that bothers me is what's your nationality? Maybe it's because I'm kind of a pedant. I'm kind of a literalist. So when people ask me what's your nationality, I say, well, American, right? Because this is just the correct answer. And then they go, no, no, originally. And then I'm like, what are you talking about? What? You know, in a way that if they had asked like, "What's your ethnicity?" or "What's your ancestry?" like I wouldn't have even been phased. Yeah.
yeah, I think most people are not thinking about it that hard.
No,
um
the unfortunate truth is that most people, normies as it were, don't use words denotatively ever. Like they're always just using some vague vibe-based connotative sense of word.
Yeah, I mean, like
yeah.
the most bizarre thing to me, I mean, like just in terms of stereotypes too, is like I don't know where the Asian women being submissive thing comes from. Like this seems very bizarre to me. It's like it's also with like Eastern European women or like it's like, no, like you're gonna get eaten alive. Like I don't know like where this comes from. Like it's like I mean Cairo and I have talked ourselves about being fetishized separately, even though we're men, in like weird ways over the years. But
It's hard out there.
it's hard out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
I think like all bad things, it comes from Japan. I think the
You think it
right
comes
like
from
there's
Clip
Japan?
the
that.
Yeah. Yeah, clip that. Yeah.
Okay.
right. Well, I guess I can't think of like, you know, a national stereotype that the like submissive Asian woman is really true for, except maybe Japanese women, like, you know, traditionally there's like a
I don't know. I mean, the Japanese
I
woman,
don't even
right?
know
Like she
if
controls
that's
the
true.
finances of the home completely, right? Like, and she gives her husband an allowance. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah. Yeah.
asymmetrical, but it's like not in a binary. I don't know.
I guess that, I mean, I don't know. This is maybe getting a little too racist.
I mean,
But
this is
they're
what the
like,
Futurist Letters show is for, is advanced racial sciences. This is
This is the
the,
Futurist Letters
the
show.
this is the
You
institute.
know what we're
Yeah.
doing? We're holding ideas up to the light, right? Continue.
and just asking questions.
We're
Just
just
asking
asking
questions.
questions, right? What does the fluoride do to the child? What do the vaccines do? We're just asking questions.
um, but
What really happened
yeah, I
in
don't know.
Havana Harbor with the USS Maine?
Oh, are we main truthing now? Because that definitely seemed too convenient to be a
Yeah.
random accident. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think that
Come
was a random
on.
accident.
We were just itching to go in on those Spanish. All right, anyway. Sorry, Lillian. I think do you have anything else you want to say about the race element before we move on? Because this is very interesting, but I do want to cover some other stuff.
Yeah, I guess okay. So just to maybe light to like soft backpedal my racism against the Japanese, um, I think that the Japanese occupy a sort of like outsized um,
They've occupied a lot of
influence
things.
on um, in the American imagination of Asia. At least like, you know, definitely when I was growing up, that's shifted now. So some of my hostility to the Japanese is rooted in like, you know, Japanese imperialism against Korea and China, and like personal, you know, slights and harms that were done to my family. Some of it, though, probably more than I'd like to admit, is just the like growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, and getting um you know, having someone be like, oh, you know, what's your ethnicity, and then saying like, oh, I'm half Korean, and then they respond with, oh, I love anime, or like, oh, I love Japanese culture, and it's like
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with me. And so there was, I think, in um you know, in American nerd culture, it's like Japan reigned supreme for decades, and then now there's a shift with like the Hallyu, the Korean wave,
Yeah, and the
where
Chinese, I
suddenly
mean, like I have family members who are like 20, 21, who are like obsessed with this like wuxia and these like Chinese phone games, you know, Honkai Star Rail. Like they remind me
really
exactly of like how our generation were like weebs for like Death Note and stuff, except it's all China, you know? It's crazy.
What do you think about the Korea booze? Like in terms of like you've seen that now as like an adult.
Oh yeah, like the white K-pop fans and stuff.
Yeah.
K-drama fans.
yeah, I don't know, it's kind of, it's like weird, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. It's just very strange. I was recently in, I like went on like this boat ride, and there were all these white children who were this is like in Chesapeake Bay. There were all these white children who were like running around, and then they went crazy when their moms brought out the like roasted seaweed snacks, so called, which is just like a Korean food that's been like
Yeah.
repackaged by Trader Joe's, and that like blew my
Oh, those are
mind. They're
good
like,
though.
They are good.
Is that
yeah,
different
they're
than like
good.
the nori, like the Japanese roasted seaweed, or is it similar?
Yeah, no, it's well, I mean, it's similar, but it's different because it's
But
like
it's Korean,
actually
damn it.
seasoned. It's
Okay.
Korean and it's like salted and it's like meant to be, it's like crispier and like
Just
it's
better.
just better. It's just
Yeah.
better.
Because it's
um,
Korean. Yeah.
Yeah. Prima facie. Um, so like if a kid comes up to you and it's like, "What are you?" and you're like, "Well, I'm, three-eighths Korean," and they're, I love BTS." Like, is that an improvement from like I love anime?
it's definitely an improvement from North Korea or South Korea.
Oh God, I was just
Oh,
writing about this. Do people still ask that? Like, this is just baffling to me.
I haven't heard this personally in many years, but there was fucking Terry Gross did an interview with um uh what's his name? David Chang, the chef.
yeah.
I don't know
And
these people, but continue.
I know who
Terry
they
Gross,
are.
the
Yeah.
NPR host.
And David
Um
Chang as
yeah.
Momofuku. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Momofuku chef and he's like celebrity Korean American chef. And she asked him like, is your like were you from North or South Korea? And I was like, what the fuck, Terry Gross? Like this was like, 2023. I don't know. It was yeah, that was a wild thing to hear. But
There may be a
um
time when North Korea changes and we actually do have a wave of North Korean immigrants. That could be very interesting. I guess we'll
I
see.
went I went to a North
Um,
yeah,
Korean part
in my
I went to a North Korean
a North Korean park.
party in Haifa actually. It was a
You went to a North Korean party in the entity.
yeah, like I saw the event
What? How did this
posting.
happen?
Okay, so I saw the event posting in like a Haifa WhatsApp group, and it was at a bar, HQRN, which is actually a nice bar in Haifa. It's very trendy. And so I go, and like these two DJs come, and if I remember, like actually, like they were Arab guys, but they were dressed in like North Korean like regalia.
Oh, it was just a
And
North Korea themed party?
yeah, it was a North Korea themed party. And so like they
Oh my
then had
goodness.
like a projector screen, and they put on the projector screen like state like propaganda and music videos from North Korea, and they were like,
That's funny.
and they were narrating it in Hebrew, being like, "Look at our glorious leader Kim Jong-un, see how he leads the country and like builds glorious water parks and things like this."
Yeah,
And
there is
then
like a special interest among Westerners, and I guess I'm including even Westerners for the moment, in like these closed countries, right? Like I know that like when my parents were in their 20s, they had like Soviet themed parties, right? Like this was not out of any communist sympathy. Like it was just funny to have like a propaganda themed party for like a rival bloc. Um,
yeah, but North
I
Korea
don't know,
also
weird
is
times.
they are doing the Deng reforms now. Like, so you're saying like, oh, we might
They
be able to
are
engage with them in the future. Yeah, under Kim Jong-un, they've
big,
been doing like market reforms. Yeah.
huge. Do you keep up with geopolitics recreationally or for any other reason, Lillian?
um I mean, I follow when there's like, an attempted coup in Korea or
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah, what was the deal
um
with that? That was kind of lame.
the self coup.
yeah, the
Um
self-coup. Yeah.
He like apologized like 20 hours later. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Come on, man. If you're
yeah,
gonna coup, you
there's
gotta
some
coup all the way.
pretty great clips came out of that of like, 90-pound female like members of parliament or like wrestling with soldiers. Did you see these clips?
Yeah,
I
but
did
also
Like
like
not.
telling them like
No.
shame
I,
on you.
I think the soldiers, like, he just didn't have the support within the military apparatus. Like, the soldiers were
Yeah.
clearly like, yeah, we're just going home. Like, screw this. Like, Uh, but it is ridiculous that they did just like the legislatures just went back into the legislature and said the magic words, and then the coup was canceled. Like that is very funny to
I
me.
do. So do you feel like, I mean, do you speak any Korean, Lillian?
Not, no, not really. I'm
Yeah,
actually
that
taking
makes
a
two of us.
Korean.
Nathan probably does. He
I'm
speaks like every language. This man is a
I,
very weird autodidact.
thank you, but I don't know Korean. Unfortunately.
Fair. Yeah, it's phonetic,
Yeah.
dude. It's easy. Just sound out the letters.
I do know the alphabet, and I'm taking a class right now actually,
Like if
like a
we're in
beginner.
K-Town, you could like read out the signs phonetically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. A lot of them are just English transliterated, so that can get you a lot of the way in like a Koreatown, as I'm sure you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It is an amazing alphabet, though. It's the only alphabet system in the world that was like deliberately constructed. That's actually in use. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't know Esperanto or something.
Central planning dub. Wasn't like not ancient Greek, but whatever came before it, the like uh very early like
Phoenician
um
alphabet?
no, not the Phoenician alphabet. The Greek one, like the Mycenaean alphabet. Wasn't that constructed? Or I guess
I
we
mean,
don't know.
a lot of alphabets were like
I
the
mean, like
Russian.
linear A.
Yeah, there's linear A and B, but like I think
Linear
we can't.
linear B is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But also like
I think that's the one we don't know.
the Cyrillic. Yeah,
Oh.
I think Lillian's right because there's the Minoan one too, which they didn't even speak Greek, if I remember correctly. Like they
No,
were
the
the
Minoan one is weird and evil. We're not going to talk about that. I'm talking about linear B. Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Um, but
Korean.
no, like
I saw
the
something
Cyrillic.
interesting. Apparently, what's that?
No, I was just gonna say the Cyrillic alphabet was designed for Slavic languages, as well.
Oh yeah, this I have heard. So you're taking
Mhm.
a Korean class right now. What inspired this? I mean, I can guess.
Well, I'm going to Korea in the fall, so
Oh,
Oh,
huge,
huge.
yeah.
huge.
You seem to travel a lot. Is that? Would you say that's fair?
Um, I don't know.
I speak
I
purely out of envy because I used to travel a lot, and now I can only travel vicariously, really, through others. Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I think like the normal amount of travel. Yeah, my trip to Asia is going to be an abnormal amount of travel, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I'm going with my parents as sort of a like family history trip.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Shout out your parents, by the way. We went through all your grandparents and we never got to the part where they met. So I think we need to hear this. How did your parents meet?
they met on the first day of uh, business school at Kellogg in Northwestern,
Meaning
and
graduate school?
yes, yeah.
Very cute. My mom's parents also met in grad school from very random ethnicities. So we're truly creating the managerial elite melting pot with these MBAs, I guess.
Yeah. PMC master race.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So I had a good transition for this earlier, but then we lost it. So now there's no transition. You seem
Mhm.
to have been getting into like weightlifting lately. What inspired this?
Um, well, Cairo, I've been into weightlifting.
Sorry, you've been into
uh,
weightlifting.
yeah, so maybe I guess about 8 years ago, when I started dating my now husband, he was a an avid power lifter, and I was lifting curious, but had never really,
Yeah.
managed to commit. So, um, yeah, early in our relationship, he gave me a copy of Starting Strength by Mark Ripito and was like, "You need to read this before I'll take you to the gym and teach you how to lift."
This
And
man was too online. Okay, continue.
I don't think it was. Is Mark Ripito so
I
online?
think that's
It's
like a
like old
stereotypical
school.
like bodybuilding.com like fit book. Do you disagree,
Fit.
Nathan?
No, that's a 4chan
Yeah,
poster over there.
it's
Yeah.
a 4chan book. I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
Well, you know, it was a really useful bit of mansplaining, and yeah, and then I just got into powerlifting style lifting, and have been into that ever since.
If there was um like one, say, time and resources being infinite, if there was one sport or athletic event that you would want to pursue, like what would it be outside of lifting?
Probably swimming.
Okay.
I guess I mean that's what I do with some regularity other than outside of lifting.
There you go. I think that's a really good combo. I spent a couple of years kind of switching between lifting and swimming, and I think they complement each other very well. So, listeners, lift and swim. That's the Futurist Letters recommendation.
Yeah, you're gonna put out like a training program,
Yeah,
branded
I
Futurist
think
Letters
I
training
had one on
program.
my notes app from like back when I was really in it. It was like a modification. There was like there was some guy on Reddit who like named himself after a Pokemon, and he had a modification of starting strength, and then I in turn did a modification of his modification, so I could always put it out there. But the thing that has stopped me is like I think that like when you publish a fitness guide, your resume is your body. And obviously like
Mm-hmm.
my injury has sort of put my lifting career behind me, so I wouldn't want to basically just be like talking out of my ass as it were. So I think it'll stay esoteric knowledge.
Sounds like excuses to me.
I think
Absolutely. Yeah,
Futurist
we're great at
Letters.
excuses
I
here.
think Futurist Letters abides by the Bulgarian and Northern Macedonian weight training program. I think that is our official.
Oh, where they lift those big rocks and stuff? Those guys are crazy.
Well, it's the idea is that like
Oh, the strongmen.
you have to do like a little extra every day for the reps, right? Like you have to go to the point of exhaustion every single
Yeah.
day. Yeah, like that's why
Yeah.
they got so good. And we
That's good for
endorse,
your mental fortitude. I mean, the Macedonians obviously, they sort of started this whole civilization thing as far as the
Cairo,
European side, not the Near
you're
Eastern
gonna
side.
get you're gonna get added by like a lot of Greek nationalists for saying that. To be
Oh
clear,
wait, do are
yeah.
Greeks like mad about Alexander being Macedonian? Like this is just objective.
No, because Macedonia, Northern Macedonia today is a Slavic republic that is not related
Oh yeah,
to.
sure. No, the people who live in Macedonia today are not like ethnically that similar to Alexander the Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen, okay, I actually my people on the Jewish side come from Thessaloniki,
Oh,
which was
really?
founded
Wait, you're Sephardic?
by Alexander the Great's sister.
Oh really?
So yes, I claim direct fucking lineage.
That's very cool. Okay. All right.
There's
Well,
it's
we
actually
have
my
to.
last
Yeah.
my last name comes from it's Selonic as in Salonika, which is
Oh, it's a Sephardic name. Oh, wow, interesting. Okay.
yeah,
See,
it's
I
so
just
it's
assumed this
complicated.
was your husband's name. I was being a chauvinist about this. This is your birth name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't change my last name.
Okay.
Um
All right.
but yeah, no, so okay, you guys did not read my Salonica post, did you?
No, we're
No.
outed, I
Yeah.
guess. Go ahead.
Yeah. This I think this will be particular interest to you, Nathan. I I sort of go through my Jewish family history. So we have like you know apparently Sephardic origins, but along the way, like left Salonika, which was a really
Yeah,
thriving center of Jewish life. Um, in yeah, from like the 1500s through
the
the
Holocaust. Yeah.
18th century or so. Um, yeah, oh, yeah, I guess yeah, up until I think it had its peak a few centuries before the Holocaust, but uh, yeah, it had one of the highest death rates in the Holocaust of any communities. But yeah, the family lore is that we were originally Spanish Jews who were then expelled during the Inquisition,
Inquisition.
expulsion of the Jews. Made our way to Salonika, and I guess spent enough time there to take on the name, and then from there made it over to Eastern Europe, and then like into Prussia, and then over across into Alsace,
Oh, that's interesting.
Western
Yeah, that's
Europe.
very much like the reverse journey. Uh, yeah, that's cool. Especially, yeah, like the Greeks have like their own little like weird traditions. Like they go by like Talmud Yerushalayim instead of Bavli. Um, they're very interesting. But yeah, that's cool. Um, I
Yeah,
mean, my
I
last
don't think my family like
my last name is
I,
interesting if you Google it, which yeah.
We might be losing you a little, Nathan. Sorry.
Yeah, I think one of my
I think
earpods
it's
is
it's Cutter in the tubes, right? It's the cog.
it's the cog. It's the Qatar occupation government, to be clear.
Yeah, they're trying to shut down. This happens, Lillian. The Cutter comes in and they try and shut down the podcast
Hmm.
to prevent the spread of national liberal ideas. But we are doing our best to keep ourselves on the air. We're also getting close to time to call it. Unfortunately, I want to ask you one more question, which unfortunately could turn into a whole half hour of discussion. But I want to at least get a little of it, which is my sense is that we are in a very transitory moment for literature in the Anglosphere, for good or for ill, probably a mix of both. Where do you see things going for like what's interesting and intellectual in new fiction? Like, what do you see on the horizon?
guess I don't know. I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask about the contemporary literary scene, because I um honestly don't read that much contemporary fiction.
Extremely. We're gonna clip it at I don't read that much. Okay, continue.
um, yeah, I mean that's also true. I don't read as much as I would like,
Well, I
but
think this podcast listener Chad definitely mogs the virgin reader of words. So if you're listening to this, you're doing the right thing. Okay, continue, Lillian. Sorry, or just tell
okay,
me to go to hell.
I don't know what those words mean, but um, yeah, I guess
Your
I
Zoomer card is
see.
revoked. You're welcome.
Thank you. Um, I don't know. I think that, so as someone who mostly reads older books, I think that like with all eras of literature, eventually the dust will settle, and the winners and losers will emerge from this era of writing. Um, I think that there's more volume being output right now than ever, because of just there are the technology and infrastructure is there to enable huge amounts of um, self-publishing, most of which is probably just slop. Um, but I guess I have faith in time as being the sort of great sifter of quality. Um, and yeah, although now that I say that, I guess it's not just time that does that. It is people who are actively seeking stuff out. And now I find myself in the unfortunate position of like being one of those people who claims to be a determiner of quality, since I've,
As the head
you
of the
know,
LRB.
as the head of the LRB, and also um, a judge of the, what was it called, the Samuel Richardson self self-published
Oh,
prize.
prize. Yeah, that's very exciting. Yeah. So has that keeping in mind this is early September, September 1st, has that concluded or can you still take submissions?
Submissions closed on July 31st.
Got it. Well,
So,
that's probably good because I can't imagine reading that many self-published novels. I say that as someone who reads a lot of self-published novels. How many submissions did you get?
I don't know. I'm actually still waiting to hear from Naomi, who organized the whole thing.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, it's unclear if I will soon come to regret having volunteered for this position.
Yeah, you got to work on the art of the speed read. Have you noticed, this is my actual last question, which I guess I said the previous one was my last. People in the mainstream media are starting to write about Substack and Substack lit. Like people on Vox, people in like the New York Times. And I've seen like, Henry, they've mentioned Henry Begler quite a bit. They've mentioned some other people like that. Ross Barkan seems to come up a lot. Um, do you feel any desire or urge to try and like squeeze into this like list of people who get interviewed when these articles come out? Do you feel any kind of like status anxiety around this, or do you just kind of let it happen?
No, like 1,000%. Yes, I want to be in the New Yorker. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I want to show
Okay.
my mom that I'm in. I sent my mom the article about like Naomi uh, Kanakia and was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, this person subscribes to my Substack," and she was so proud.
Yeah, Naomi's also a paying subscriber of Future, so thank you, Naomi. You're a great patron of
Amazing.
these arts. And also, we want to be mentioned in these articles where you're mentioned. So, cursed to be just out
Yeah,
of frame for the moment.
I honestly like. I don't get. I feel like I see a lot of criticism of um, of the people who have been covered, and they're like, oh, you guys are just recreating, legacy media or whatever. Like, you guys are such sellouts. It's like,
Oh, people just complain. They don't have any substantive material to their complaints,
it's
in
like,
my opinion.
yeah. And honestly, like, I'm not ashamed to say, like, I started Substack because, like, yeah, I'm not gonna get published in the New
Yeah.
Yorker just out of the blue. Like, I don't know. I'd never like engaged in. I'd actually actively resisted like writing any kind of nonfiction other than like essays in school,
Yeah.
because I just like I never wanted to be a journalist. I feel like that's a common thing. Like people who write fiction are like, oh, I want to be a journalist too to like make a living as a writer. But I never wanted to do that um, because I never wanted like pressure and deadlines and stuff. Um, I think I had some like bullshit vision of like, oh, the purity of writing fiction, or I don't know. Um, but so I never like practiced this kind of writing before. So the Substack is like, yeah, it's a way of like honing this new craft, which is something I've not had any practice in. But you know, would I like to have a byline in, New York Times Magazine? Like, of course. Like, I want people to read my shit.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Well,
It's
as they say in the weightlifting community, we're all gonna make it. Which ended up, I guess, in crypto too. But I think it's more true in weightlifting and fiction than it is in crypto. Um, but yes, I think actually, unfortunately, that's about all we have time for. So I want to say, Lillian, thank you so much for coming on the show, even though you had no idea what this was for. We really appreciate you, not just as a guest, but as a writer, as a contributor, as a friend of the journal, as someone we see online. You are like in this very small pantheon of people who make me hopeful about the future of literature. So we're so honored to have you on the show. Thank you for coming.
that's very kind. I really admire Futurist Letters as a journal, and yeah, this was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Leanne.
you've inspired us. When you told me that someone else was asking you what the mission of Futurist Letters is, I kind of thought, oh, I think we need a mission statement. I think this is time. So we may see a mission statement soon, and that will be indirectly because of you. So yes, again, thank you for coming on. This has been a pleasure. Listeners, if you want more of Lillian Wang Selonick, please subscribe to the LRB, that is the Lillian Review of Books. She writes about Saul Bellow a lot. She writes about other science fiction. She is very insightful. She has a lot of good things to say, and she is also a very talented fiction writer. You can find her work in Futurist Letters, which you already read because you are watching this show. So if you would like to sponsor this show, this is where your sponsor message will go at the opening and the close. So please consider becoming a sponsor. Please also consider becoming a paying member if you aren't already for just a few bucks a month. And you can even do a free trial, although it makes me sad if you cancel your trial. You can join us for the after show where Nathan and I will ramble semi-coherently about how this went and other journal business. So please join us parasocially for that. Then you can leave your comments. You can do other things that come with the noble privilege of paying membership. And please find Lillian wherever she is around the internet. Lillian, thank you so much for coming on, and we will see you the next time that you grace our show with your lovely presence.
Thanks. I hope I have a book to promote or something at that point.
I hope so too. All right. We'll see you.